Okay, so we're going to start off opening up our file, in this case a street scene from Portugal that I took a few years ago. And when I'm editing buildings, I like to go straight to the geometry tab and figure out my perspective and everything first before I dive into anything else. So we're going to start off with the distortion slider, which will help us to compensate for any lens distortion that we get, so any sort of like that fisheye type look that will make your lines curved in your image. Next, I'm working to see if I need to change any of the horizontal or vertical distortion. Basically, that just changes the perspective of the image, the linear perspective. In this case, I decided I just wanted to change a little bit of the vertical distortion to make it look like the photo is taken from slightly higher up, and so the sides of the buildings on the street are straight up and down, rather than tapering away from me going towards the sky. Okay, so now that we have that part done, I'm going to move over and crop the image to get rid of the blank white areas. I'm also going to take out that pipe on the side because I feel like it's a little bit distracting. Make a slightly longer, narrower ratio because I feel like it works better with the composition of the overall image. There we go. We've finished all of our geometric adjustments. Another thing you might want to play with is the rotate tool to make sure that your horizon line is straight up and down. In this scenario, the building was actually on a slight hill, and so it doesn't quite work to straighten it out to the building in the background because it makes the buildings on the sides tip. And we missed a little corner here, so just fix that crop one more time. Okay, so now that that's done, then we can move on to editing the colors and exposure in the image. So first off, I'm going to start with taking down the highlights, so you get a little bit better color in the sky, a little more detail in the sunny areas of the paved street. Doing the same with the whites as well to make them not quite as bright. Turn up the contrast a tiny bit. A thing to be careful with contrast is it will saturate your image, so use it sparingly. Okay, moving on to the effects panel. I'm going to turn up the texture and the clarity just a bit to really bring out the roughness of the rocks and the texture of the paved stones, because that's one of the strong characteristics of this image. Okay, so now we're going to zoom out and take a look at the before and after. As you can see, a lot of the changes that were made were very subtle. Oftentimes that is the objective with editing, is we don't want to make our photos look outlandish or overdone. We just want to bring out what's already naturally good about them. So I like this photo in color, but I want to play around and see what it might look like in black and white, because I feel like that might make it even stronger. So we're just going to use one of the presets that's built into Lightroom. Check that out. Already a stronger image because it helps us really focus on the geometric shapes that are created by the light and shadow patterns in the image. So now that I've used this preset, I'm just going to play with it a little bit more to get it to exactly where I want. So I'm going back to the light panel. I'm going to darken up the blacks just a tiny bit to make them look a little bit richer, a little bit darker. Again, emphasize those textures and shapes that we have going on in our image. And there you go. So now we're going to zoom out again and take a little look at the before and after. So even with the black and white, still not drastic changes, but bringing out what is naturally good about this photo. So then all you've got to do now is export it, and you are good to go.